Whew. Oklahoma. 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 Wow. Wow, wow, wow. 17-13, Oklahoma beats LSU. They lock in their bid for a college football playoff appearance. Wow. What's going on? My name is Daniel Augustin. This is Multi-AF. What a game. What a game. What a game. Sloppy defensive effort. Very crazy to see John Mateer throw for 3 interceptions, yet LSU still only managed to get 13 points on the board. Do you remember when LSU picked off DJ Lagway 5 times but only scored 20? This LSU team has major problems. If you ask me, they need Lane Kiffin more than Florida needs them. As crazy as that sounds, despite the fact that they had 7 wins this year and Florida only managed to have 4, they need Lane Kiffin more. They lack an offensive identity like crazy. They can't run the ball. They can't pass that shit. They can't do nothing right on offense. Not nothing. Defense? Oh my God. On defense, they're special. These guys are so special on defense. I mean, they're picking the ball off left and right. I'm literally left and right. The left corner, the right corner, the safety. Everybody gets some. This LSU team's defense is special. Their defense is good enough for them to be in the playoffs, if you ask me. I'm not going to say their defense is good enough for them to win a championship, because in my opinion, a defense that's good enough to win a championship is a defense that finds a way to score every week. Fumble, interception, figure it out. Get us some points, because you clearly see our offense ain't going to do it. Getting the ball back ain't enough. We need you to put the ball in the paint. If LSU was finding ways to do that all season, this team would absolutely be in the playoffs right now and would probably not have fired Brian Kelly. Lane Kiffin probably would then be going to the Florida Gators or something, and pretty interesting. But let's talk about this really quick. I don't have anything good to say about anybody on LSU's team. I'm only going to focus on Oklahoma here. John Mateer, 23 of 38. I don't know why he's throwing the ball 38 times. That's insane to me. But 318 yards. He's getting back into his groove. John slaying that thing at Washington State. So some of what we're seeing from him here at Oklahoma, this is a more conservative version of John Mateer, which I think is actually important. I think John Mateer needs Oklahoma more than he maybe knows it. I think he should come back next year. Don't go into the draft, John. Please don't. Please don't. You're not ready. You're nice with it. I like John a lot. I do. But John, there's certain things that he does do and doesn't do. One thing in particular, John throws everything like it's a heater. Everything is on the line. Everything is a rope. John needs to really add in some touch passes into his game. Way too many times, he's just not giving you any kind of touch. Everything is just a fucking bullet. And that ain't going to get it. All 3 of his interceptions today, all 3 of them, the first one got batted. So I'm not going to say that was his fault. But let's just say he threw that with more touch. He probably gets it over that defensive lineman. That's 1. 2, the second one, threw it on the right side. And I'm trying to remember it right now off the top of my head. No. That was the one that was down the middle of the field. He was trying to He was trying to get the ball over the linebacker's head to his guy. It was a seam route, but instead of him throwing it the way he needed to throw it, to get it over that linebacker's head, it's got to have touch. It's got to have some velocity on it. Still some zing to get it to him right away, but you need to float it in. Instead, he throws a fucking bullet. The safety, Halsey, if I'm not mistaken, just jumps it because when you're throwing the bullet, you don't have the velocity on it to get it where it needs to go. If he throws that with velocity, that safety's got to jump over the receiver, jump through the receiver, and he's going to get a pass interference call. Instead, he threw a bullet, and then the last one, he threw another interception that was a bullet. The game runs deeper than just your quarterback. This Oklahoma team is kind of special, man, because you don't look at this team and say they got stars. I'm actually a big fan of Satania. I'm a huge fan of him. Okay? Is he a star? I don't know about that. I don't know he's a star. He's probably a guy that's like a number 3 wide receiver in the NFL. He's number 1 right now for Oklahoma. But he's probably a number 3. Trips me out. Both of John's John Mateer's touchdowns today come from the first one went to Burks, like a 60-yard touchdown pass or so. It was off the top of my head. And, John Mateer didn't really have to do anything. Got it out, got it to his guy right away, fast. That's still important. So he did his part, and the blocking was great. It looked like LSU had a lapse in their defensive coverage, so to speak, because it just looked too easy. And, they get the score, much needed score. And then the second one was a clear issue on defense with LSU. They clearly made a mistake in the secondary, and John Mateer was able to throw it over their heads, and Sategna got a score. But this team worries me a bit. I'm going to be honest. I think the strongest thing they have is their defense, but there are some pieces. For me to fall in love with this Oklahoma team, and for me to say I see this team going to the national championship game, they can. They get the right bracket, they get the right matchup, they absolutely can go to the national championship game. But I think that if this Oklahoma team gets matched up with a team that has a very consistent offensive game, very consistent offensive players, they're going to lose. The same way they lost to Ole Miss. I figured they would have beat Ole Miss. That game was an awakening for me too, because I got a chance to get to know these teams, the coaches, the play styles, coaching styles in the moment. And I see Ole Miss is a team that can run it up. They can score however much they may need to. Oklahoma is not. Oklahoma is a team that's going to control the pace of the game. And because they're going to control the pace of the game, they're probably going to score like fucking 20 points, 21 points. They didn't even score 20 points in this game. They scored 17 points. So this is the kind of team that you don't want to play against them, because they're going to make you play their brand of football. I mean, they kind of couldn't do that to Ole Miss. But for the most part, a majority of teams are going to make you play their brand of football. If you're a team that cannot put up a lot of points, you don't want to score against this team. If you're a team that struggles to put up a lot of points, you don't want to play against this team. If you're a team that has any questions on your O-line, you do not want to play against Oklahoma. But if you're a team that can score on defense, if you're a team that has a great defensive line, like Texas A&M, Miami, I wouldn't want to play them. If I'm Oklahoma, I wouldn't want to play those guys. If I'm Oklahoma, I'm looking for a favorable matchup in the college football playoffs. And I don't say that to disrespect Oklahoma in any way, shape, or form. If you guys have been watching my videos, then I would imagine you guys know I'm a fan. I know I've said some things. I said that, I made a video. Somebody called me out on it too. I made a video about Oklahoma. It was a fraud alert video I was doing because I was, rooting the Gators into the SEC championship game. I look crazy for doing that. As far as what I made that video for, it wasn't necessarily about Oklahoma as much as it was about Brent Venables. I had an issue with Brent Venables playing John Mateer against Texas and playing him that next week. I felt Oklahoma should have played Hawkins, played him in that Texas game. I felt like Oklahoma could have beat Texas had they played Hawkins. I feel like you got to trust every guy on your roster. You should know them, know their limitations, but you got to trust every guy. And you can't say that John Mateer is just constantly playing winning football in every single one of the past 4 or 5 games. In some of those games, Oklahoma has won despite John Mateer. This game in particular, Oklahoma won despite John Mateer's poor play. He threw 3 interceptions that were all bad interceptions. I'll give him the first one. The first one's okay. That one got batted. I hate that, but, that's not your fault. But he damn sure threw them other ones. He gave LSU those other ones. LSU just couldn't score. So there are things about this Oklahoma team that does give me cause for pause. But I'll say this. If I'm John Mateer, come back. Please come back for one more season. I think there's some development that's much needed. You get that development. You start throwing some more touch passes along with your style of bullet passes. Everybody's talking about John Mateer for Heisman again, and everybody's talking about John Mateer for top 5 pick. They have stopped talking about him, and I don't think that's fair, so to speak, because he's a good player. He's a very good player, but there are parts of his game that need to improve, and I don't know if they can improve at Oklahoma. It really depends on who his quarterback coach is and the kind of information they're giving him. He's got Arbuckle with him. He's had Arbuckle with him, and he's still throwing passes that are just straight fucking on the line bullet passes that just look like they got smoke tailing the football. I would love to see just more balance from John Mateer, right? And look, I'm not going to say much else. Oklahoma's in the playoffs. There's going to be more opportunities to talk about this team. I'm looking forward to talking about this team. I'm looking forward to finding out who's their matchup. If they put Oklahoma in that, say, a bracket, I don't even know who they should play right now. I don't. Because Oregon can score, but Oregon can struggle too. I feel like that's a matchup. If Oklahoma was playing against an Oklahoma type of team, that's a good matchup for them, in my opinion. Because Oregon can score, but they don't do it like that. If Oklahoma is going up against, say, Notre Dame, that's not a good matchup for Oklahoma. Oklahoma can play them well, but it's not a good matchup. Oklahoma could win, but it's not a good matchup. Notre Dame's got more athletes on both sides of the ball. Oklahoma, their athletes are scattered. It's like out of nowhere. Oh, there's Burks. Oh, yeah, Satania. Yeah. Notre Dame got them all over the field. Here's the last thing I want to say, and this is going to sound silly. It's going to sound stupid. I love the Oklahoma fight song. I think it might be my favorite. I think it might be the best. It's one of the dopest fight songs. And I'll spare you. I'm not going to sing it right here and do all that extra shit. I just needed to say that. I love that fight song. Every time I hear it, I can't help but to just tag along, jump in, and be a part of what they're building over there. I love what I'm seeing out of Oklahoma. They're a sleeper team. They're not the team that everybody's talking about in the college football playoffs. But this is the team you don't want to fuck with. You don't want to play these guys. Only way you're going into this game saying you got the favorable matchup is if you're like Ohio State, if you're one of these teams that have a crazy plethora of weapons and the quarterback and the receivers to go along with it. Indiana, Oklahoma, that's a crazy-ass game. That's a crazy game. I can't wait to see this college football playoff bracket. I really want to just see who people are going to be next to and what the scenario is going to be. Guys, that's enough for me on this. There's not much to say. 17-13, what is there for me to really say? Shout out to Oklahoma for getting that dub, finishing strong. It was looking a little touch and go for a little minute there. All right, third quarter, you're still losing 10-3. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then John was still throwing interceptions while losing 10-3. I'm like, bro, are y'all just trying to give this away? Are y'all trying to be the story? Are y'all trying to be the big story of the week? Texas A&M is already giving you that. You don't need to help and add more. We got enough stories going on. People want to know what's going on with Lane Kiffin and you know what? As far as Lane goes, let me just say this really quick with Lane Kiffin. Pretty sure Lane Kiffin's going to be at LSU. It's been widely reported now. I think he's supposed to be having a press conference in I'm in LA, so it's 5 a.m. I think they said it's going to be at 9, so in an hour. Pretty sure he's going to be at LSU. Just going to say, I think what they came out with in the news about the contract details, the $90 million for him and the extra, I think, $25 million per year for NIL. That's a game changer. And it sucks that Lane Kiffin isn't going to Florida, but at the same time it doesn't. All right, if you've been watching my channel, then you know I'm not the biggest Lane Kiffin fan. Hell, last year I was calling him Lame Kiffin. I think Lane Kiffin has found a way to brand himself as everything. He's everything. He's the biggest villain. He's the biggest hero. And I think he's going to be good for LSU. They need him. I'm not going to sit here and just talk shit because he's not going to Florida. Fuck him. I don't give a fuck about him coming to Florida. To be real, he's not who I wanted most out of anybody. I started liking him a bit, more and more every day. Fuck Lane Kiffin. I don't need him at Florida, okay? That's just me keeping it a buck. I don't need him at Florida. There's so many other coaches. I'm not crazy about this John Summerall situation. I'm not. That's not what I'm feeling. I would rather have Kenny Dillingham at Florida. I'd rather have John Gruden at Florida. All right, those are just two off the top of my head. And if you know me and you've been watching this channel, then you know I've been talking about John Gruden since. But yeah, good for Lane Kiffin, man. And hopefully, ultimately, what comes of this is coaches will take notice of what those contract details were, and they will take those contract details to the university, to their athletic directors, and they will start setting it up to where they have a more competitive NIL package. $25 million, you know good and damn well LSU about to be poaching motherfuckers like crazy. Like crazy. Don't be surprised if whoever your favorite player is on whatever favorite team of yours gets poached and ends up at LSU. Because they're going to have the money to offer guys an extra $1 million. I'm leaving too. Come on, man. All right, guys. That's enough for me on this. If you guys are this part of the video, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you, man, for real. Because you're a part of the community that I am grateful to have, grateful to be able to communicate with. I know sometimes I do come back at some of y'all in the comments sometimes, because I can be spicy too. You feel me? That's just me keeping it a buck. I can be spicy. You feel me? But yeah, I'm grateful. If you guys are this part of the video, thank you so much. Would really appreciate it if you help out the algorithm by tapping that subscribe button and helping me get to my goal of 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year. I know it's not looking too good right now, but have faith. I got it. If I got it, you can have it too. Peace.